Annyeonghaseyo! Welcome back to K-cheonsa, where we talk about everything K-related. With me, your host, Angel. Today, we're gonna talk about the experiences that I have with Korea, and I personally haven't been to Korea. I was gonna go there last September, but Rona happened and it got cancelled. But the closest I've come to experiencing Korea is through my Korean friends and through K-dramas. Okay, I know K-dramas aren't really exactly how they are in real life, but there's some truth to it, and that's what we're gonna discuss today. Okay, let's start with the food. Don't you just get hungry and mouth-watery while watching K-dramas? And the way Koreans eat in K-dramas, they always eat with so much passion and so much engagement with the food, and it's actually how most Koreans eat. I've seen people talk about this, and I've seen my Korean friends eat, and it is true. They do eat like that. It makes the food look so much tastier than it already is.
마지막으로 깔끔하게 냉면으로 마무리해주면 진정하고 완벽하고도 효율적인 고깃집 회식이 완성된다고 할 수가 있지.
Street food. Korean food culture is actually pretty similar to Philippine culture. And watching K-drama, characters go to different street food stalls. It reminded me of my childhood when I grew up in the Philippines. And I miss it because we don't really have that here in Sweden.
정 그러시면은 떡볶이라도 더 드실래요?
Kimchi. The love Koreans have for kimchi is undeniably true. Like, we all know that. And I personally cannot eat kimchi on its own, but I know some can. I mostly eat it with rice or with ramyun. And yeah, but I do understand why they love kimchi. It's good. Speaking of ramyun, does your face really get puffy after eating it the night before? I might have to put that to a test. Should I like measure everything? Never mind. Of course, we have to mention the obligatory norebang scenes from most K-drama. It looks so much fun just singing and dancing with your friends and having fun. I love singing karaoke at home when I'm alone, but I really wish there were norebangs here in Sweden, because sometimes I just really wanna sing my heart out and like scream my head off, but I can't really do that without alarming people, like my neighbors or the people passing by outside my house. So I really wish we'd have that. And I can't wait to go to one when I go to Korea with my friends. Snow. You know how they would use umbrellas when it's snowing? They do that in real life, and it's really weird for a Swede like me, because we don't do that. We barely use umbrellas when it's raining. Be careful! You know those classic scenes in K-dramas when two characters are walking side by side on a pavement or a street, and then a bike comes passing by, and usually the guy would suddenly pull the girl to safety. I've confirmed this in a very confusing way. So it was my first time meeting my Korean friends, and I was standing with one of them outside a store The other ones were inside the store, so we were just waiting there. And suddenly, a guy, I don't know, I didn't see if it's a guy or a girl, someone riding an electric wheelchair came passing by a little too fast. So my friend just suddenly grabs my shoulder and pulled me to the side and said, "Be careful." And the funny part is the first thought that came into my mind was, Koreans do that for real? I've seen other Koreans do that with someone else, so it is true. Prayer stone stacks. You can see in many K-dramas when they add a stone on a rock tower and they make a wish or pray. This worship is based on the most basic religious principle, relying on the permanence and unchangeability of rocks. The stack is usually made by random people who passes by or travels there to put a stone and make a wish or pray something. These stacks are usually found next to a shrine, temples, or mountain paths. You can read more about it here. Intense fan culture. There are K-dramas where one or more characters are celebrities or a public figure. They often show scandals that quickly affects not just the celebrity itself, but even the company they are signed to or the shows they are starring in, which is very true to life since it does happen quite normally in the Korea entertainment industry. I personally don't like tuning in to those news, but it's quite hard to avoid when you're following K-pop and K-drama pages where people like to post those news, but yet they're true to life. And it feels like this is why fans feel like they're entitled over the idols. Like they know they can easily ruin someone's career if they see something they don't like. Even if it's something that really has nothing to do with them. The Korean beauty standards. This is a very toxic trait that I've noticed in the Korean society, that their beauty standards are so unhealthy, and it's not that it's just a standard. They use it like an excuse to mistreat other people. And in some K-dramas like Oh My Venus or True Beauty, it's like your value as a person depends on your face, how you look like, your weight or your size, rather than who you really are, your personality, and what you're capable of. Let's talk about jobs. You know, in some K-dramas like Love is a Bonus Book or My Shy Boss, a lot of it is set in a working environment or an office. So the character gets a job she really wanted, but it's not necessarily something she's good at or she knows a lot about, which led to her being treated differently and maybe unfairly by her co-workers. Well, I cannot say if getting a job that you're not entitled to is possible, but I can say that Korea is very hierarchy based, and I know that can cause a barrier between people, especially in a working environment. Co-workers can easily be divided. It's like that in many countries, as we all know, but it's not really like that here in Sweden. Not, at least not as much at all. And it's hard for me to understand that someone can be so much higher up than someone else, and that they can have control over that person, and that someone has to be inferior. I dating. Like in Married, Not Dating, and Something in the Rain, they emphasize the parents' need to butt in their children's dating life. I think it's an Asian thing. I never experienced it myself personally from my parents, but I've had some of my relatives, like especially older ones, they would ask, like, do you have a boyfriend? When are you getting one? And I'm like, it's not really any of your business. K-dramas do mirror reality in many ways, but some of it is exaggerated or romanticized. So just keep that in mind. There's a lot of great things about Korea and its culture, but there's still so much that can improve. We cannot just use it's part of their culture to justify and tolerate some of the things that we all can agree can be better. And I hope Koreans do realize that too. That's a bit of my insight about Korea. I'll be discussing some of this and some other topics in more depth in the future, so make sure to subscribe. And for now, 안녕!